Hello and welcome to this edition of Profiles on Pasco. I'm Tambry Lane, Public Information Officer with Pasco County Government, and today we're going to talk about something really unique, bottom ash reuse in Pasco County, or as I like to call it, recycled roads. Joining me today is Flip Mellinger and John Power. Thank you both for being here. Before we get started, tell us a little bit about what you do for the county. Flip?
Thank you. I'm Flip Mellinger. I'm the Assistant County Administrator for Utility Services. So as such, I'm responsible for the water, wastewater, recycling, recycled water, recycling program, and solid waste.
All of it.
All of it.
And John, what about you?
I report to Flip. I'm the solid waste director, and under the solid waste, we also have the recycling, and which encompasses the whole county of Pasco.
Right. Okay, so give us a quick overview of the solid waste process in the county.
Well, Pasco County has a subscription type service. We have 6 haulers that do the collection for us. We regulate them. They operate under a code that the county has established. And when they collect the municipalities, they collect the entire county. So the majority of the materials, if not all right now, is going to our waste energy facility, which is out on 14230 Hayes Road. That facility was built and brought online in 1991. It processes 1,050 tons per day. And the garbage that is picked up on the curb is what fuels that facility. That facility also generates electricity, which we sell to Duke, which we do get a revenue for it. We also have a recycling program that is also curbside collection, and that's collected every other week. The garbage is collected twice daily currently.
So from the curb, the garbage goes to the waste to energy facility.
That's correct.
It's burned.
That's correct.
Which creates electricity.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that's kind of that's a really cool process. When that happens, there's a byproduct. So let's talk about that, because that's where this all starts, the ash reuse process.
Well, what we looked at, and the county is actually the county is the first, and I'm going to kind of jump ahead a little bit. The county just received a beneficial ash reuse for the bottom ash to use it in aggregate for either road base, concrete, or asphalt. And it's the first that was ever given in North America. So Pasco County is really out in the forefront.
Congratulations.
That's a permit from the Florida Department of Environmental Protection.
So we did a test strip with the bottom ash, and without going into too much detail, because
well, and before, sorry to interrupt, but before you get to that, I just want to make sure people understand. So at the waste to energy facility, when we're burning the trash, what's left over is this ash.
Correct.
And that's what we're able to use, this bottom ash. Mm-hmm. And now you're talking about building roads. So how does that fit into the process?
Well, what we are doing right now, and just to kind of give you a little bit of a understanding, is that we typically process about 1,050 tons per day. When you go through the burning process, it reduces the volume by 90% and it reduces the weight by 75%. So what's left over, that byproduct, was landfilled. It was the ash. So we start looking at it because there's we're looking at for several things actually. We're also looking at to mine the materials. But to start with, we want to look at, see if there's any other kind of a reuse that we could do. Industry over in Europe currently actually has programs in place, so we thought, why can't we do the same? So with the help of University of Florida and with DOT, we actually started a 1.5-year program that we constructed a road that was mixed with bottom ash, and it was for base material under the road. It was for aggregate within the concrete and the asphalt. We also monitored the groundwater for a 1.5 years during that period. We did some structural tests on it, and everything came by with flying colors. So that's how we were able to establish the reuse and get the permit to move forward with it. So currently we have some projects that we're looking at doing. We're building a biosolids facility on the complex, the solid waste complex, and that ash will be incorporated, because since the initial permit to reuse it, we've also extended that now that we can use it in bike paths. We can use it for some concrete work in buildings. So we're moving forward with expanding that program.
So when you talk about aggregate, you're taking this ash and you're mixing it with different things to make a bottom layer or a top layer, depending on what you want to do with it?
Well, we're actually going through a process. There's a little bit more to it. You screen the materials, you cure it, and you size it. So what you're doing is you're displacing natural resources like rock, lime rock, for the base material. So you're using that material in substitute of something that would typically have to mine out of the natural resources, and it's offsetting that. Which
kind of leads to the next question, Flip. Why do this as a county?
Well, I mean, if you look at the availability of the bottom ash, John's facility has several acres, I don't know how many acres, that are currently in the landfill. They're large hills, if you will, of this bottom ash. John's initiative, and he is tip of the spear, but we're working with, he's working on a program right now. He mentioned mining a while ago, to where we'll take that bottom ash off of the piles that it's on right now, separate the metals out of it, mine the metals out, and that'll create a revenue source for the solid waste facility. And at the same time, it'll segregate out the aggregates. Once that is shaken out, as he puts it, segregated into different areas, it can actually be sold as another means of aggregate for construction. And that's another revenue source. So as we develop these revenue sources, it helps us when we go to expand the waste energy facility in the future.
And saving room in the landfill?
And it cuts back on the amount of landfill space, that's correct.
Well, to expand on that a little bit, we're projecting that if we just mine the metals, we're looking at 15% reduction in the landfill. So that's airspace, which is very valuable. If we go and we carry it forward and we reuse the aggregate, you're probably doubling the landfill's life because you're shrinking the current footprint of that landfill. So it's a cost avoidance. And in the long run, it's beneficial to all the taxpayers of Pasco County.
Well, and it's very cutting edge.
It
I mean,
is
the
very
first
much so.
approval of its kind in North America. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that's exciting.
It was a team effort, and it certainly started with the Board of County Commissioners and our county administrator by letting us and funding the program.
So we can see more. We can expect to see hopefully more roads, recycled roads in the future, possibly even using it in building materials.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, Flip, John, thank you so much for being here and for explaining this process, because I know it's it's a lot, but you guys explain it well. So thank you for being here, and thank you for joining us for this edition of Profiles on Pasco. I'm your host, Tambry Lane, and we'll see you next time.